Help us out. Hey, I think we're live. We may or may not be live. Let's give it a second and find out.
Hey, I added my channels to this thing, so we may or may not be live everywhere.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. We're going worldwide.
I'm just here for
Got
the
8
free
people.
pizza.
Hey, let's bring chat up. I know it's gonna take a little bit of room on the screen, but while we're here hanging out, we might as well have some chat. Look at the man, the myth, the legend sitting up there. Ooh.
I gotta like scoot down in my seat. I feel like I'm
man,
getting
we're all
cut
over.
off.
Make Jesse big. There you go. Make Joesph big.
Oh, so it changes for you guys too.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll put the veteran. We'll put the
Down at the
old
bottom.
eldest. The elder will be the largest and like large and in charge. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Slay Security Plus. I hope everybody's doing well. It is Thursday. It is about 5 o'clock for me, maybe 7 o'clock for you. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know what time it is or where you are, but welcome to the live stream. We're all about having good times, and most importantly, we're really all about studying for your Security Plus certification, specifically the SYO 701. I got about 5-10 new questions dialed up. We're still in domain 3. If you're brand new to the channel or to the live stream or the initiative, whatever you want to call it, what we are is we're a volunteer-based community initiative that focuses on studying Security Plus and helping others pass for free with the industry's top, practice questions and certification guides that's been tested and vetted. And we do a lot of discussing on the resources that we use, so that it saves you the money so that you don't have to. Everything we're using in this current series is from Professor Messer. You can head over to Professor Messer's website and you can buy his stuff. We're not sponsored by him. I just think he's the best in the business. You can buy the whole test bundle. I think it's $50 and you get some notes and you get some tests, and they're the best tests. And so that's what we're going to use today. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to have some fun. Let's see who all is with us. I see Space Tacos. What's going on, Space Tacos? Cyber Eddie, I love you too. Rhonda Rummerfeld, welcome back to the channel. I see some familiar faces. Team SC, Jerry would be happy to see that. He may or may not join us. I'll keep peeping in the guest room to see if he does join us. Well, welcome to the stream. Hey, Pretty Tree, good to have you. Jim Lund, present and accounted for. I've been texting and or not texting, but chatting with him on LinkedIn saying, hey, let's study. Haircut Fish, welcome. Good evening, he says. Let me know in chat if you want to keep chat up. We're going to keep it up while we jaw jack for a minute. Let the anybody who is going to show up and join us, let them show up before we get into some test questions. I'm going to turn it over to these guys. We got some special guests. You probably know them at this point. Casually Joesph, Barricade Cyber, moderator for Jerry's live stream, active participant, Black Hills Information Security and Anti-Siphon groups, kind of everywhere in the information security scene, Wild West, Hacking Fest, alumni, and we're going to be hanging out again. We're also joined tonight by the man, the myth, the legend, DJBSec. Fellas, how's it going?
Doing all right, man. It's Thursday.
It is. You guys rap for a minute. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to get my coffee finished up, and then let's get this party started.
I'm just trying to stay awake as long as the young people do.
What is that, like 9 o'clock for you?
I mean, it's 6 here, so I got about 45 minutes.
Before it's your bedtime.
Yeah, how's the acquisition going?
Yes, it's busy.
It's busy.
We're busy.
Does that mean that BSec's busy, or does that mean the company's busy?
Yeah, this is well, no, it's busy across the board. So I mean, it's not just me; it's everybody. So
we're lucky. I think we're lucky to have him tonight. Is what we're hearing. Now, Joesph, I know you're slammed too. How are you doing in school?
I'm doing all right. I got the last stretch of a paper to write for this weekend, and then hopefully Sunday I'll have free, and I'll be doing some house chores that I've been neglecting because I've just been so busy.
Remind anybody who's tuning us, what are you going to school for?
Right now I'm doing my bachelor's in IT with a focus in cybersecurity. So I'm in my capstone class. I graduate in June. And the capstone isn't actually that hard. It's just a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of writing.
Dang.
Sounds like a dissertation.
I know.
I wish. That means I'd be like way done.
Man. BSec, you've been in the industry for a while. You're a veteran, what, going on 15, 10, 20 years? How long have you been in the IT industry total? 21?
Longer than I've been alive.
25?
25, 26, yeah.
26-year veteran in IT security, IT management, security management, risk management, kind of all of the above at this point in your career. Let's look at chat. Got Nika in chat. What's up? Oh, Nikia, welcome. Space Tacos, drinking some wine. I know nothing about Security Plus. Well, then you are in the right place because we're going to get to cracking on some questions. I got about an hour. I should text my wife and say that we may go a few minutes late, but I want to try and honor her. So we're going to party, though, for a minute. And get
I can tell
questions.
you, DJBSec knows a lot about Security Plus.
Right.
Even though he said he doesn't, he knows a lot about it.
Do we got ourselves a hustler in the group? A shark?
If I'm old, then he's old.
Right?
He's actually part of Cyber and Security. He's one of the mods over there at Cyber and Security.
With Neil.
Yeah, well, over there with Neil. He's actually over on my Twitch channel right now.
Okay, welcome.
Seeing that come through.
Well, welcome to the party, pal. We do Security Plus. That's what we focus on. You know why? Because we don't like CompTIA. We think they're probably the biggest social engineers in the industry. I don't have anything, I don't represent anybody. They don't pay me to use these questions or to help people pass their certification. I just know that it's like the Hallmark Cert at the beginning of your career to at least get you a conversation, and hopefully you've done your homework and you've got some hands-on experience and you've built a really healthy professional network. But really, the Security Plus is no more than a talking point, so that you can have the same conversation with some cybersecurity people and understand what the terms mean. That's really what Security Plus is going to get you in a certification. What is it going to cost you? Probably a lot of stress, a couple $100, and some study time. But it is a DoD certification if that is something you're interested in, and so that's why we focus on that and that only. We build mentorship, we build community by being here and hanging out, and then from here we really just branch out. We're part of kind of would you say, guys, we're kind of roots off of the Simply Cyber tree. I know I am. I know Slay Security Plus is. BSec, you've been around for a minute on your own, though.
I got roots all over the place.
Yeah, you do.
I just go where people talk to me.
Well, then what are you doing here?
I don't know, man. I got lost. Someone said tacos, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm here.
DJBSec says he has roots all over the place. He hears Happy Father's Day and has whiplash sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, no, not like that.
Well, gentlemen, that was a little bit harsh. I'm feeling a little bit feisty. We just got out of lockdown here at my house in my community. We got a reverse 911 call that law enforcement was in the area and they were contacting a armed suspect, and to lock your doors and to hide your wife, hide your children, hide your dogs, all that good stuff. So we did just that. I armed up and buckled down. She said, Space Taco says I'm not drinking wine yet. Well, you probably will by the end of this live stream. But anyways, we're coming out of lockdown. I'm feeling feisty. All right, that's what people are here for, is to answer some questions, right? Are you guys ready to party?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, before we get started, I got to pay a little bit of attention to our sponsors. I want to start with Mason SC. Whether you are in the industry and you're looking for your own CISSP mentorship program, you're looking for IT risk management, IT security, contact Josh Mason at Mason SC. He's one of our proud sponsors some of our educational materials and some of our course building materials, and we're super thankful to have him. Slay Security Plus is also sponsored by Simply Cyber.io. Be part of the inclusive community at simplycyber.io. Let's pay some bills, listen to Jerry, and let's rock and roll.
Are you feeling lost in the vast world of cybersecurity, overwhelmed by technical jargon and confusing career paths? You're not alone. That's why I built Simply Cyber. Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Ozier. Come join Simply Cyber, your supportive and inclusive community for navigating the exciting world of cyber. There's so much to take advantage of. Master the skills you need with Simply Cyber Academy, offering in-depth courses aligned with the GRC analyst role. Never feel isolated. Connect with fellow cyber enthusiasts and professionals in our thriving Discord server. Ask questions, get feedback, share your journey. Check out the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, delivering insightful interviews. What are your thoughts around, web app pen testing as entry level? And I included bug bounty here because that's very accessible to everybody. Practical skill demos and daily cyber threat briefs, all hosted by industry experts. There's so much more to discover. Are you ready to join the community and empower your future? Visit simplycyber.io/socials for all the links and start your cyber adventure today.
You heard it, folks. Simplycyber.io. Check it out. Whether you're just getting into the industry, if you were trying to watch that video and go, what is that? What was that even really about? If you're just getting into the industry and you want to level up in your career, go check out Dr. Jerry Ozier. There's videos, resources, mentorship guides, community building, your own brand building. There's probably a video for that, and it's probably really well done. All right, let's answer some questions. Let's do this. If you're brand new to the channel, we answer our questions using the Vvox app. Go to vvox.app or app. I guess that word spells. It's like watching Dumb and Dumber when they're trying to spell the. Thank you. The ID we're using tonight is 144772-229, or you can use your device and scan that QR code, and it should take you right to this test. And you answer the questions using your device. Please, 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 please do not answer questions in chat. Avoid that at all costs. This helps avoid any kind of imposter syndrome or lemming syndrome where somebody hits C and everyone goes, well, that must be it, so I'm going to hit C too. We don't know who's voting. I don't know who's answering what questions, but this is a good way for you to gauge where you are in your studies. We're in domain 3. Give yourself 30 seconds to a minute to answer the question while we jaw jack. And then if you don't know the answer, feel free to look it up, right? We're here to learn. You want to retain the information. We've got a whole video. If you look somewhere here on the channel, we've got a video where we talk about how Slay Security Plus does some of its learning and retention strategies. Ms. 01, yep, welcome. Let's go. Which of the following would be the best option for application testing in an environment completely separated from the production network? A, virtualization, B, VLANs or virtualized local area networks, C, cloud computing, or D, air gap? What's going on with this one?
If you were here last week, you should know the answer to this.
Yep. This is a review question. And in fact, I'm going to, wait, can I do this? I can. I'm going to read chat. Let me know if if you can see the questions. If chat is distracting you guys in chat, please let me know. And we'll pop it off during the questions. I like having it for right now. Can I just take this out? I bet I can. There we go. I missed most of last week. You missed most of last week's questions, or you missed most of last week as in you were not present for last week? Because I've been there too. I know BSec and Casually Joesph, you guys have probably had days where you you don't feel like you were present for the week. It probably kind of just flew by.
Oh, that's this week. I can't believe it's already Thursday. Honestly. Which last week was completely different. Like I was like, when is it going to be Thursday?
When you see the clock and you can literally just watch it.
And then the hand goes backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we got 12 of 12 that have voted. There's 29 or 30 or maybe 45 of you that are watching tonight. Thank you for doing so. Which of the following would be the best option for application testing in an environment completely separated from the production network? We've got virtualization, we have VLANs, cloud computing, and then air gap as our options. Let's see what the survey says. And the survey says, thinking, 58% say air gap, with a few voting sprinkling virtualization and VLANs. Let's talk about the answers that are not correct just a little bit. BSec, I'll turn it over to you for virtualization or VLANs. Pick one of the two, talk about why it's not the correct answer, and then Joesph, if you want to speak on the other one, go for it.
I'll let Joesph take the first one. I'll take whichever one he doesn't want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, virtualization, when you think of virtualization, you're thinking about having basically a computer that is not a real computer, that is using the hard resources in your computer. So it's still touching the environment. It's not separated. A lot of times people will misconfigure their VMs when they're doing testing with Metasploitable or something like that, and still have the network card in bridge mode. And that's definitely not separated. So when you think virtualization, think just virtual machines, sandboxes, anything like that. they're still touching your environment. They're just not physically there.
So the same thing goes on along with VLANs, and to kind of touch on what Joesph was saying also with virtualization, realize that if you're going to put something within the virtualization of a computer, it's still on that same computer, just like he was saying. That's basically it. You've one computer with a whole bunch on there. VLANs is kind of the same thing. You're still on the same network. With VLANs, depending on how you have routing set up, VLANs can touch each other. VLANs are segmenting the network itself. But that doesn't mean that you can't cross over. The big key in this question is where it says completely separated, meaning it can't touch anything. Mm-hmm. So your answer is air gap.
Yep. And to touch on VLANs as well, all they are is a logical segment. I mean, you put in a rule that says that VLAN 1 can't talk to VLAN 2, but VLAN 1 can talk to VLAN 3, and it's all on the same switch. It all uses the same router, depending on however you have it configured. And basically, I know some switches fail open, where if say you were to flood the cam table, you could just get rid of that whole VLAN thing, and now you're talking to everybody.
Well, and also realize if you, like you said, if you have VLAN 1 can talk to 3, 2 can't talk to 1, but 2 can talk to 3. Guess what? 1 can now talk to 2.
Talk to 2. Yep.
Yep.
So depending on how you configure it, so just remember when you take the test, if you get an answer or a question like this, if it says completely separated, there's an air gap.
Air gap 9 times out of 10 is going to be your option, other than, I don't know, a Faraday cage in a bunker with no internet. It's probably going to be air gap on there. So look for that. And then we'll talk about when you see how best is in all bold and all caps. There's a little bit of strategy when you see that on your test. CompTIA on the exam actually does that too. It's either in all caps or it's emboldened. But there's something to that, and we'll talk more about that here in a couple questions. See, a business manager is documenting a set of steps for processing orders if the primary internet connection fails. Which of these would best describe these steps? Platform diversity, continuity of operations, cold site recovery, or tabletop exercise? And if you were here for last week's Slay Security Plus, this should be a review question. I think, so while we're answering this question, I'll fill the awkward silence and tell you a little bit about my life. We're thinking of moving. We just had this lockdown where I could see the SWAT and the police officers over here. Well, we are thinking of moving to the south, but we're actually thinking of moving within maybe an hour or so of our friends there, Joesph and Jerry.
No.
We're taking a trip out to South Carolina in June. I think June or September.
Hey, that's where DJBSec is. Everybody's over in freaking Carolinas, man.
Yep. So it happened to be by happenstance the areas that my family was already looking at. I said, wait, what were those areas? And I asked Joesph and Jerry and the guys where they lived and how far they lived from each other. And I said, well, that's like right there. So let's go check out the area. And if it fits and we can find a house that's less expensive than a home in Colorado, because a home in Colorado to buy yourself right now is redonkulous, especially in my town, which is a beautiful town, but it's a dangerous town. And we don't want to be here. Stuck up here in Central PA. I bet Central PA is pretty, though. I don't know what Central PA looks like. I'll probably stop talking because you might be like, absolutely hate where you live. And I'm like, it's probably beautiful.
See, I agree with DJBSec. You decided to come visit South Carolina in probably the worst time of year. We're walking
That's
around
why you do it.
Like drinking soup.
That's why you do it. I've got a method to that because I said we got to go visit when it's the worst. He said we can bear it then, and we enjoy the people, and we find it like it's community. We can find a community there. I like building community, and we like doing that kind of stuff. Then I said, well, then let's go. Like, there's nothing. I've got a small family here, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, you can come here and breathe and walk just like it's in soup. Same thing,
right?
Yeah, it takes 8 hours to get anywhere.
Here, right as you walk out the door, you're sweating, so it's fine. I mean.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a business manager is documenting a set of steps for processing orders if the primary internet connection fails. Which of these would best describe these steps? We have the options listed above: platform diversity, continuity of operations B, C, cold site recovery, or D, tabletop exercise. Now, we're going to briefly talk about this one really quick. We're looking for a set steps, right? A set of steps for processing orders if the primary internet connection fails. Well, processing orders, this business, whatever this business is, they process orders for widgets, right? So their day-to-day operations, the things that they need to continue doing on a day-to-day basis, the operational level, is they process orders. And so a business manager is documenting a set of steps or a checklist, right? The airplane starts to go down, there's a checklist, right? There's always a checklist for something. A business manager is documenting this checklist for going, what do we do if crap hits the fan? If our internet connection fails, how do we keep processing orders? Which of these would best describe these steps? So maybe that helped if you reframe the question, what it's asking you, right? What is this question asking us? Well, it's asking us, what kind of steps would these be, right? This day-to-day operation, you want to keep them going. Well, we see the words continuity, and by being alive or Googling, we know that continuity means keep going, right? Keep going of operations. Platform diversity, that doesn't satisfy the question. Cold site recovery has to do with recovering your operations after something happens. Not the primary internet connection fails necessarily, but your entire site goes down. And that is also pertaining to cold site, warm site, and hot site, which really is just saying cold site has some infrastructure there, but that's basically it. A warm site is semi-fired up, but you're gonna have to do some work once you get there. And then a hot site is ready to go. And with the cold site, it's going to be the cheapest and take the longest to get fired up. And as you move up that ladder, and so a warm site is going to cost somewhere in the middle, right? But it's going to take a medium of time, maybe a little bit quicker. And then a hot site, which is going to cost a lot more. That's the bottom line. But if something happens to your operations, whatever that is, you can just flip the switch and you go to a hot site that's ready to go. It's an exact copy of what you have. Tabletop exercise, well, we're talking there. We know from being in cybersecurity and studying and checking out Black Hills Information Security, tabletop exercise, backdoor and breaches. By going there and checking that out, you know that tabletop exercise is, figuratively speaking, really just hashing it out, man. What happens if the red team attacks the blue team? What happens if we get hacked? What happens if black versus white? Whatever that looks like, it's done tabletop. It's done in theory, right? So none of those satisfy this question. Only continuity via operations is going to be the correct answer. There we go. Very good, class.
There's actually a name for this, and it's called a BCP, or a business continuity plan. Mm-hmm. That's what you put together for this. So this would be more than likely somebody has sent something out to each department, and the departments are creating their business continuity plan that's going to go into the holistic business continuity plan for the whole company. That's all this is.
Mm-hmm. You'll often see BCPs in the same juncture as DR, or disaster recovery plans. The steps are very similar. Disaster recovery is more like, we have a bunch of water or fire, we need to get the people out, and what do we need to have absolutely critically running to keep going? But BCPs and DRs have a lot of similar steps, and continuity of operations is going to fall in that BCP DR frame. An important keyword here is that they are documenting the set of steps. If it said they were practicing the set of steps, that would be tabletop exercise. Tabletop exercise is when you get whoever you say, you think of a scenario, and then you're like, I need sales, I need like marketing here, I need IT, I need the CS department, I need whoever is involved in this scenario to know what's going on. And you have to ask them, okay, what exactly are your steps? What are your steps? Why is this important? The tabletop exercises, you'll usually find that a lot of people don't actually know what to do when things hit the fan. A lot of people just tend to panic first. And doing these tabletop exercises helps alleviate a lot of that. But the key word really is documenting versus practicing.
Bam! There we go. Thank you, Joesph. And something to keep in mind is you hear Joesph talking about this. This is part of his day-to-day work, or at least this is part of the company that he works for. Part of those day-to-day operations is some incident response and disaster recovery, right? But part of that also that we're talking is that when you're looking at these questions and we're going over the answers, it's really important you learn the answers, right? It's super important you can answer these if you were asked on a test. But what's even more important is that you can connect the dots, that you can go continuity of operations. What else is CompTIA maybe going to ask you about? What's a BCP? It's a business continuity plan. So you can start to branch out. I talk about this on every single live stream. Whenever you answer these questions, your brain should immediately start to just like a spider web crack on a windshield, just start connecting dots within the cybersecurity world of how it all works. And it starts to map things out in a mental map of the industry, of practices, of set steps, of frameworks, of things that you're supposed to do in our field. A little bit of a tip that's helped me just retain information and practice along the way. Correct answer is continuity of operations. We're going to skip ahead to some of the fresher questions. Let's get out of review for a minute. We'll close that one down.
Bring in the good stuff.
Let's see if it's going to let me. It might not for some reason. All right. Which of the following considerations are most commonly associated with a hybrid cloud model? Microservices outages, IoT support, network protection mismatches, or D, containerization backups. The question is asking which of the following options here are things that you should consider when using a hybrid cloud model, when maybe using partly on premises and some things are in Azure, or some things are on-prem and some's Google Cloud Workspace and some is Azure and some is AWS. Or maybe you've got nothing's on-prem, but their AWS is taking care of some things and you've got Azure taking care of your identity and access management stuff, right?
That's how I read this question, is a hybrid cloud model. So AWS and Azure, or AWS right. and GCP, or GCP
sure.
and Azure.
Yep.
That's how I read this.
Yep. And at least what we're still being taught from Professor Messer and CompTIA is when they say hybrid cloud, they're referring to that, but then you also see it referring to your hybrid if you're on-prem. Some people will interchangeably say, oh, we're hybrid, we're on-prem, but we're also in the cloud too. I think that this is asking, I think it's most likely asking about like GCP or AWS.
Yeah, in the space, if you hear somebody say hybrid, probably 99% of the time they're talking about they have something on-prem and they have something in the cloud. They're not talking about AWS and GCP, or they're talking about on-prem and the cloud.
All right. Today's coffee is Starbucks coffee on sale from City Market. That's our beverage sponsor and our snack sponsor, because I'm like my toddler. I don't like to get hungry when I'm working. Is these Nature's Bakery fig bars. Those are super good.
You microservices in South Carolina.
Yeah, what'd you say?
You probably don't get that in South Carolina.
Probably. I'll find something. I don't get too picky with food. Microservices outages. That's not what we're talking about. That's not a consideration that we're most commonly associating with a hybrid cloud model, is whether the little services that are your Docker services hosting, if it goes down or not, because you can just pop it off and spin up a new one, right? So that's not really what we're concerned with. IoT support, Internet of Things, is definitely something we want to consider, maybe for some edge computing, but we're not still talking about hybrid cloud model, right? Network protection mismatches, I think that sounds pretty good. And the containerization backups, again, not quite satisfying what the question is asking. We're looking at security. So sometimes when you struggle with these questions, I don't know if this helps for BSec or if this helped for casually Joesph, but I look at the question and I go, hey, is there anything that's CIA here? Is there anything that's asking about confidentiality, availability, or integrity? IoT support doesn't really answer any of those. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with CIA. So you can scratch at least that one off right away. Just little things to help you hopefully get to that answer a little bit quicker. Survey said network protection mismatches. I like that. All right, now you can pick some questions. Now to the good stuff. A company is installing a security appliance to protect the organization's web-based applications from attacks such as SQL or structured query language, injections, and unexpected input. Which of the following would best describe this appliance? A WAF or a web application firewall, a VPN or virtual private network concentrator, a UTM or unified threat management, or an SASE, and I don't remember service. I don't remember what that acronym is. Maybe you guys do.
Secure Access Service Edge.
Boom! Talk to us about that, Joesph.
I don't remember exactly what it is off the top of my head. I just remember that being one of the acronyms that I struggled with. But Secure Access Service Edge, I think, has to do with cloud access. It's a lot like a CASB, which is a cloud access security broker. But I believe the SASE is, I want to say that's client side, if I remember correctly. You have it on the edge of your network, whereas CASB would be on the edge of the cloud's network. Correct me if I'm wrong. BSec, I know you might know a little bit more about this.
You got it.
CyberSec, South Carolina in June. You're going to regret that. LOL. Probably just going to like make the worst. We just watched an episode of Bluey last night, which of course makes you cry every time you watch Bluey. But spoiler. So if you are watching Slay Security Plus and you have kids, the newest episode of Bluey, there's a spoiler. So they're going to move, right? The healers are going to move. And if you've been watching Bluey for a long time, and I have been for 3 years now, that's how old my daughter is. And so you get to love them, and that show specifically is just as much for the adults as it is for the kids. And in this particular episode, they're selling the home, and everybody is sad about moving. And then they end up staying, which we're not going to stay, at least in this house. But that made me think of that episode, and it made us cry. My wife and I were like, we're gonna. Yeah, being in Central PA, the main meetups are either Pittsburgh or Philly area. Both are like 3 hours away, so not really workable. Bummer, man. We got to get you meeting up. Are you coming to Wild West Hackin' Fest, Haircut Fish?
Haircut Fish, like in the Poconos or something?
Where are you at?
He's in the middle of Nowheresville.
He's in Amish country?
Honestly, if you've gotten any other CompTIA certs, recently a lot of this stuff so far should be review stuff. They go over a lot of this BCP and other procedures and all the entry-level certs. Mizero1 coming in from YouTube, speaking the truth. That is correct. Now, that's something that CompTIA makes clear. If you were wondering, hey, should I get my A+, Net+, and then Sec+? That's completely up to you. I personally do not think that you should spend the money on A+ or Net+ unless you are specifically trying to get into either like a field tech or a help desk position, or you really want to take advantage of getting into networking, which is super admirable. And I think it's a killer field. And for some reason, cybersecurity got really sexy, and all of a sudden it's like lame to be in networking now. And that's not the case. Networking is still badass. But yes, Network Plus could lead to your CCNA, and CCNA has become a lot more security focused. And so if you're looking to go down that route, I will tell you that the Network Plus information is great to retain, and Professor Messer has it all for free on his website. But I would say if you're looking at getting that networking route before you even ask the question, that the CCNA is probably going to get you just more bang for your buck. From what I've seen in the industry and spoken with people that have it, and how they're like, yeah, I'm here now, but this is really how I got started, is I just had the CCNA, started as a network, became a sysadmin. That sysadmin role took on more security-like roles, and before I knew it, I was the full-on like the security engineer, and then eventually got a raise. So you don't need A+ or Net+, take Security Plus. The information for both of those certifications is all free, because CompTIA does expect you to understand CompTIA speak, their language, so to speak. But they expect you to understand what's come before Security Plus. So get the information for free, unless you're getting Net+ or A+, and then sit for your Security Plus. So no, you don't have to get those certifications. But like Mizero1 said, a lot of their stuff is review.
And I have to agree with the CCNA route. Quite frankly, I recommend the CCNA over NetPlus any day. Yeah, it's Cisco, so it's not vendor agnostic, but the skills apply and translate to any networking gear that you're going to touch. The terms still apply.
And you
CCNA,
get hands-on experience.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
gonna
that's
get
exactly
hands-on.
what I was about to say. CCNA is hands-on. You have to actually make routes. You actually have to configure switches and routers, and you have to make VLANs, I think, in the CCNA as well. And as Missouri 1 was saying, NetPlus has been a bear because subnetting is hell to learn. I agree, subnetting is hell to learn. It's hell for everybody. But CCNA is just the NetPlus but better. You actually get your hands dirty. You can use packet tracers to supplement having real gear.
I'd use just GNS3 though.
GNS3, if you're old.
If you actually want to use the actual commands.
Oh,
Packet tracer does not have everything. It has, I think it's probably got what, just enough for CCNA. But,
Yeah, it does.
GNS3 is the actual firmware that is on the machines or on the switches, so you can actually use them, and you could build out a full-on network.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're not going to get the pretty graphics of the little email going from one switch to the other and then going over to the router and then stopping and not making it back or telling you what it is. That's what packet tracer is good for. To go, look, the packet went and it stopped and it didn't come back, and you can go, okay, well, since it stopped there, then I don't have a right route. So now I need to figure out why. GNS3 doesn't do that. I actually used GNS3 on somebody that was below me, where I worked at a while back, and he wanted to learn networking, so I built out the GNS3 network and then broke it and then gave him the GNS3 stuff and said, okay, go fix it. And he had to figure out how to actually fix the network and had to understand, and that way he actually knew and learned how to do networking versus just having packet tracer where it's just a point and click. Anyway, side tangent.
well,
Answer?
people have you see it asked all the time in these cybersecurity podcasts and live streams. Do I need to understand networking to be in cybersecurity?
Yeah,
do I need to
1,000,000%.
understand? Do I need to really? Should I really get a job as sysadmin if it's offered to me as a way to get into cybersecurity? Absolutely. I mean, it's just having a fundamental. If the better your understanding of networks is, the better your network understanding is, the better your understanding of how to protect it and what is going on. You have to understand how data travels, how it's stored. Remember, because we're talking about confidentiality, how it's stored, potentially, or integrity, how it's stored, and how it's available, how it's stored. You need to know how it's transmitted, at least an understanding of what the protocols and the ports are. You need to understand that we're not looking at necessarily the port. As a hacker, we're looking at what the service is that's running. All the port is just a number. I want to know what the service that is running on that port. That is what's important. The
Right.
port numbers are just a number and a letter and a word so we can understand what those services are, right? And so the more you can understand networking, it will answer a lot of these basic security questions, IT, especially these IT security questions versus like maybe cloud security or web application security, but like IT and network security questions. Understanding networking will for sure set you apart.
And I would agree with you 100% on, if you don't know anything about networking, at least for if you want to get into cybersecurity, understand what ports are. Understand those top 1,000 ports, know what's running on those ports, and understand what happens when you scan against something for that port. And maybe on port 443, it actually isn't running SSL. Maybe it's actually running something else. Somebody's port forwarded something there. So you can see that service. And maybe Eric's favorite 3389 is actually running on 443. But you see that and you're able to hit it, right? I mean, so you have to understand that. Just because you see 443 doesn't necessarily mean that that's the service. A lot of people don't understand that. They see, oh, it's 443. Oh, it's 80. Oh, it's 53. That's what the service is. No, that's what it's supposed to be. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what somebody's pointing it to.
And I have to throw my own opinion here. You should understand ports, but you should also understand how a packet/frame moves through the TCP/IP stack. Because you're not going to understand encryption in transit if you don't understand how a packet actually moves from a computer to a computer.
Headers, understanding those headers and how they're interpreted, understanding even some basic flags. I think if that is something you're like, what are they talking about? I just sat in for Security Plus. Believe it or not, go sit down for a anti-siphon training, John. SOC core skills class. John Strand talks about understanding the headers and understanding some flags and what to look for and some key things that are just in that basic networking, like what's in a packet. And so I think Joesph is absolutely right. All right, let's answer the question. We've got WAF, VPN, concentrator, UTM, and the SACE or service service edge, right? Was that service access security edge? Security access service edge? At any rate, it has to do with
service edge.
Service edge has to do with cloud computing, right? Yep. Well, this is asking us about SQL injections and unexpected input. Typically, SQL injections are due to website builders and developers doing a poor job with handling unexpected input and or not properly sanitizing the input fields, properly cleaning out the input fields, or making sure that it won't take unexpected input. Meaning, what does that mean? Well, if you go to a website that is vulnerable to SQL injections, let's say just the spot where you can, I don't know, upload your driver's license. Let's just say it's some website for something to rent a car and you got to upload your driver's license. Well, when you upload that driver's license, you're uploading a file or a picture. That picture has to go somewhere, and it's probably going to be stored somewhere on a database. And that database is going to have your name, association with your picture, maybe a username, maybe a login, maybe some information, right? Well, if a threat actor wants to, they can go to that web application that is vulnerable and they can type in those same fields, right? And they can either give it a SQL injection, which is just a language from this database. I want you to look for all users with the name Jesse, right? And if the name is Jesse, I don't know, wait 30 seconds before responding. Maybe you can do it deductive reasoning. That's a SQL injection attack. You've given it stuff that it shouldn't be. You're giving it direct information within this input field, and you shouldn't be able to. The web developers should have cleaned that out so that it doesn't take the unexpected input and you get an error, right? 404 forbidden or whatever, or like, hey, can't go here, this isn't working, whatever. But if you get that information, it's probably going to be vulnerable to a SQL injection. So all three of these are talking about something else that's not web application. Only one of these is web app, which is our web application firewall. Whenever you see SQL injection or web-based applications, should be a dead giveaway that we're looking at a web application firewall question. And we're seeing a lot of them on Security Plus, mainly because from what I've picked up in industry conversations and talking with my mentors in job processes and all this, is that web application is just seeing a lot of attention. If you're going to get a pen testing job, you're probably going to start off pen testing web apps. It's just, there's a lot of attention on web apps right now. A city is building an ambulance. We're seeing an uptick in the training materials. A city is building an ambulance service network for emergency medical dispatching. Which of the following should have the highest priority? The costs of integrating the system, the availability of patches, system availability, or power usage.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie.
It's taxpayer money. Who cares? Straight cash, homie.
What's funny about this question is that answering it as a practitioner versus as a stakeholder is two completely different answers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And this is why we have people like the CISOs, the nerds, who talk to the C-suite for us, the practitioners. Because we're like, we need to do this thing. It costs money. And the CISO's like, well, why is that important? Or sorry, the C-suite's like, why is that important? The CISO breaks it down in business terms.
Yeah, you got to break it down with ROI, man.
Mm-hmm. Or
You gotta
potential
prove
loss.
You've got to prove what your return on investment. What everybody needs to understand is in IT, there is no such thing as a black line. It's all red line. We are
You're
a cost
center.
to the company no matter what.
You are a deduction in a spreadsheet. Tatiana VTech says SOC core skills class was so good, highly recommended. I agree. I took that class. Phenomenal. Still have the training materials for the last little bit. Still working through it. Hands-on, taught by a SANS instructor. It's phenomenal teaching. You learn little nuggets that you really don't learn anywhere else. In any of the other teachings that I've done in the same things, you just get some key. I feel like you get these tips that maybe a industry professional actually does on the day-to-day. John Strand's like, hey, this is just what we do, and it's probably not as sexy as you think it is, but these 5 or 6 simple commands are really useful, and they're going to make you look really cool, and it's just like, this is how it's actually done. And so I think that's really key to have. What's it like on the day-to-day?
Somebody asked earlier if anti-siphon training is only live or if it's recorded. It's only live for pay what you can, so that's where you can get it for free. It is recorded. I think you always have to pay for it if it's recorded for the on-demand.
Yeah, the on-demand training. So if you just want to like order the class, and the on-demand training is actually, it's like it's really expensive because you're paying for them to do it on demand. Like John Strand and the team literally teaches the class on demand for you, I believe, or it might be the course pre-recorded. But when you pay for the training, which can be free because of the pay what you can model, which can be free, you get access to it for, I believe, 6 months after the class is live. So you still have access to all the videos, all the notes, all the labs, all the virtual machines. It's insane. It's actually pretty crazy.
And David Liam's asking, can you take SOC core skills with little to no experience? Maybe a better question is, would it be more valuable now or later on? I think that depends on what you define as little to no experience. If you can pass the Sec Plus, then I'd say you're probably good to take SOC core. If you're still kind of hesitant and you haven't passed the Sec Plus, then maybe I would wait until after, because it does require an understanding of the actual security skills that go into a SOC.
I love what Tatiana VTech put in here. I really like the overall vibe there too, because John sits there and actually responds to people, adding humor, and I love that. I can't stand dry content. Nothing like going to a web seminar and it's just PowerPoint, death by PowerPoint.
The audio's like terrible. It's like they haven't turned on the webcam was the same webcam they got when COVID hit. Like it's just.
You move the keyboard from your desk, okay? You go to your room, you find a pillow, and you just put your head down, and you wake up 8 hours later when the class is done, because that's about as much time as it takes for them to get to slide 2.
Oh, crap. We got Nick Barker in the house.
What? Nick Barker dropping up in the house. What is up? Space Taco says. Nick Barker says, what up, mofos?
No, but Black Hills is great. It's great, especially with John, because he's really easy to throw off topic. He is so riddled with ADHD. You can just sit there and jingle keys in front of him, and he's like, I don't even care what I was talking about a second ago. What is this?
If you can afford it, I'm just saying, if you can afford to come out to Deadwood, South Dakota. Last year I went out there, and I was honored to come on stage and jam out with John Strand. Like, it just was serendipitously happened. It was super cool. But I think it's just, that's how they operate. They are culture and people first. And when you go out there, if you come out there this year, I think we're going to jam again. We might get Joe Hudson on stage. But come bring an instrument. Come bring your guitar. I think Joesph is going to have his. But we're going to jam out with John Strand at the
that thing on a plane.
Whatever that bar was called. I don't remember.
This is like, I've gone everywhere but to this one. So this will be a hoot this year. This will be our first year there.
Let's go. I don't sing. Joesph sings. All right, let's answer the question. I knew this was going to happen when all 3, 4, 5, and 34, 43 now of us got together. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Slay Security Plus. If you're just getting here, I'm joined by Casually Joesph and DJBSec, both cybersecurity and network security professionals. at different levels in their career. The man, the myth, the legend, DJBSec, going on 20, 25 years plus in the industry. And then we have casually Joesph, who's relatively entry level, new to the industry, but does have a job in the industry working for Barricade Cyber Solutions. And then you have myself, who's in the industry, but not in the same type of role. So it's a little different. So I'm learning at the same time a lot of you are. While we do this all together, we use live, free, interactive resources. We have a good time doing it. We're sponsored by Simply Cyber and Mason SC. And that's what we do. We answer Security Plus questions and we have a good time and build community, hopefully. System availability, right? That sounds like the most reasonable answer. Power usage could be important because, again, it is a bottom line and cost is important, or how much power is required. But I think that system availability in that CIA triad, it's an emergency system, right? Ambulances, police, whatever. We want that to be live.
That's what I was going to say. That's a very easy question. Hey, we're building a system for emergency services. What's the highest priority? Probably
they're
availability.
Always available. Yeah.
Probably
they're
availability.
always available.
Yeah.
All right. A company creates a standard set of government reports each calendar quarter. Which of the following would describe this type of data? Data in use, obfuscated, trade secrets, or regulated? Interesting.
I actually, I want to go back to the last question in spirit for a second. I've always heard, I've never actually seen practice, that a lot of big companies have a dial-up failover because in emergency situations, phone lines, of course, are considered critical service. So phone line brings dial-up, and if you need to come back online, you can at least use that. It's going to be slow, but I've never actually seen that in practice. But I know phone lines come up first.
So that was a big thing. Now with LTE and 5G, those are
cellular.
Those are now the backup. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Where I previously did work, we had pots that would take over, that kicks in as that would be it. So we always had to test, and so if anything happened, at least that would work. We had like one phone that would go out to the police department because everything else was VoIP, and so if the internet crashes, or when it did crash, which it always did.
Yeah, we even
volume time.
Interestingly enough, when we had fire systems, we had pots on our fire systems, and now the fire system actually puts in cellular with a backup battery on it.
Oh dang!
There you go.
That way, no matter what, you don't. I mean, granted, pots doesn't need power or anything, but it's all cellular based.
Mm-hmm.
Rhonda Romenfield, network administrator for 20 years, not in cyber. Well, believe it or not, Rhonda Romenfield, I bet you've done some security, and I would
20 years network administrator. I guarantee you've done cyber.
Yep. Don't throw yourself over the coals because the industry has changed some semantics. A company creates a standard set of government reports each calendar quarter. Which of the following would describe this data? So something that sticks out to me is the words I'm pointing. That's funny. Creates a standard set of government reports. When I see standard set of government reports, I think either regulated or trade secrets, because we know that obfuscated is kind of like hiding data within data, right?
Yeah, but not government reports. I don't think that'd be trade secrets.
I think that'd be regulated. Yeah. That's what kind of data it is. We see data in use because it's probably coming out of domain, 3.2 or objective 3.2, which talks about data in use, data in rest, and data in transit, right? Data in use is data that we're using right now, the applications on our computers, whatever we're currently using in RAM, that's data in use. Data in storage is what it sounds like, data that's being either physically stored somewhere in a vault, on a drive somewhere. It's data stored away. It can be transported. It can't be transported. It's just data that is stored. And then we obviously have data in transit. We know that data in transit, that's data that's going across the wire from network to network, or going across the air using wireless fidelity services or Wi-Fi services, right? I think regulated. Survey says, what do you guys think?
Obfuscated. It's got to be. Obviously, it's obfuscated.
Yeah. 573-918 is wondering what this song is that we're listening to right now.
It is, well, because I don't want to get our live stream shut down, this is just the music that is built into Restream.io. I pay for the, I don't know, whatever their deluxe plan is. I think the free plan gets it too. But at any rate, it's the free music on Restream. I just got lo-fi jazz beats going. I don't know. Can we see who this is? Let me check. Nope. No artist. Sounds cool. That was groovy. Space Taco says DJBSec! Exclamation point.
And I said Space Tacos.
Man, space. Regulated. Mount up. I need that sound effect. Can you guys hear that beep?
Yes. No. I can hear it, but it sounds like it's coming from behind your monitor.
It's coming from the microphone. A company is installing a new application in a public cloud. Which of the following determines the assignment of data security in this cloud infrastructure? We have playbook, audit committee, responsibility matrix, or ready to audit clause. I need to read this question to myself for a second, listen to the music, and figure out what this is asking. A company is installing an application on a cloud server. Which of the following options here has to do with the security of this data on the cloud server? Right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago when we were doing some of the lesson material, going over the Messer notes. We're talking about that responsibility matrix. Remember, we were talking about how the more you have things on-prem, the more it is your responsibility to make sure that it's secured, all that good stuff, CIA'd out, right? And the more that we switch those services to the cloud provider, the more that we see that responsibility shift to them for the security, the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of that data. Audit committee. Well, that would be a committee that looks at, looks maybe at compliance, looks to see if everything is hunky-dory. It's a committee of people. When I think of committee, I think of really boring music, store-bought donuts, and a few other things, right? But it's a group. It's a group of people checking things out. A right to audit clause. When I hear the word clause, that tells me we're looking at a statement in some kind of maybe a service level agreement or some kind of contract, a contractual clause that there's a right to audit, meaning, I don't know, somewhere in that contract probably states we have the right to either be audited or audit at any time. DJBSec, is that, Joesph, is that deduced correctly?
A right to audit clause is definitely, it's in your SLA for sure, which is service level agreement. It grants the purchasing party, so if we are buying a service from AWS or Azure, it grants us right to audit them to make sure they are following best practice security methods.
Santa Claus. Sorry, Joesph, I got caught up. I see how Jerry gets caught up in mod chat now. I get it. We've got a wonderful group of people here jaw jacking about.
Joesph hit out of the park on that. What I would say, one thing you said, Jesse, is if you have it on-prem, then you're responsible for it. But if you have it in the cloud, the responsibility falls more on the cloud provider. That's a yes and no type of thing. That the responsive, in all honesty, the responsibility for anything in the cloud more or less just becomes more of an availability type of thing of, hey, you're paying for the service, so you're paying for your 5 nines for it to be up. You are still responsible, especially for this, like the new application. You are still responsible for installing the application. You are still responsible for putting it behind a WAF. You're still responsible for, you don't put it up there and then somebody in the cloud goes, okay, and secures it.
Yeah,
it's
they don't
still
secure
your
it
responsibility
for you,
to secure. That's why you see all this stuff in the morning with Jerry and, oh, we had a leaky S3 bucket. Oh, we had this, we had that. Because people take that same mentality of, oh, if I put it into the cloud, it's going to be secure. No, it's not. If you put it in the cloud, there's a little button that says, hey, make this available on the internet. And guess what it does? it makes it completely available on the internet. It doesn't just throw stuff in there and say, okay, now it's only available to people in America. It's only available to people in Texas and South Carolina or this. You've got to set those parameters up yourself. And if you don't, that's on you. It's not on them. So if you got hit or you got popped or your instance got taken over, Microsoft, AWS, GCP, they're not going to be like, oh, sorry, that's our problem. They're going to turn around and push it on you.
They're going to go and they say, check your conditional access rules. Did you have conditional access set up? Oh, look, none of your conditional access set up.
And your terms of service
I learned that the hard way almost 2 years ago. I mean, that's or whatever, a year and a half ago. It's like pretty straightforward.
That's one thing that we need to make sure that people understand is a lot of people think, oh, if I throw this up in the cloud, it's going to be secure. It's not actually secure. It's actually becomes less secure because now you have to, if you don't know how to build out Azure or you don't know how to build out GCP or you don't know how to build out AWS to actually secure the S3 bucket or the application that you have, that's your problem. It's not their problem. I'm sure Joesph and Eric get that a lot.
Yeah,
they see it.
Sorry, guys. Mizero just says this is why Google dorking is so powerful as well. I think what he's referring to is putting those statements in a specific way. I've done a little bit of Google dorking myself. And remember that Google is a really powerful web scraper if you know how to ask it the right questions, because Google's job is to go out and cruise the internet and cruise pages and directories and files and find the information you're looking for. And so if you understand how to give Google, you can just look up Google, either Google dorking or Google prompting. You can get to some pretty cool information really, really quickly using those dorks. And so
lots of passwords, lots of SSN numbers. You can find a lot of stuff very fast.
No, Space Taco says no leaky buckets. The answer on this one, ladies and gentlemen, is responsibility matrix, right? That's this ideal world scenario that on paper, or at least the way that CompTIA wants you to understand, is that as you're shifting those services to the cloud, that the responsibility falls on them. That's not true in the sense that we've got to make sure that if I'm using Azure or whatever, that I have my conditional access set up, but it is provided right by our cloud access providers. And so that's information that you need to understand is they're providing it for you. They're providing the rules and a lot of the structure, but by default, most things in IT are set to convenient, not to secure. Remember that things in IT are typically set to convenient, not to secure. That is the struggle we will always have. Nobody wants to go to work and have to do 15 different things before they can open their computer. Right. And so it does fall on you to make sure that those things are there. But the more you're moving those services to the cloud, the more that those services, those security services are going to be offered, at least by the cloud provider, or there's going to be a framework for that.
And because we have those type of people, that's how Joesph is able to give out all that money to Simply Cyber in the morning. It's because people don't want those 15 ways to turn their computer on. So he can throw all that straight cash homie in the morning.
Woo! Mizero sounds like he might be a red teamer. Kind of like I enjoy red team operations. I love blue team too. I love just cyber. I love all of it. It's just, I love this field so much. Also, there's a lot of colleges that don't properly secure class information, but who's looking? And it's unbelievably to hack some of those class websites. And then there's just a lot of, there's a lot of, that's true.
Yeah,
that's so true with schools.
Speaking of college and fun things, I got bored taking a test one day, and I was poking around the network requests in spec mode, and the API calls when you clicked a button to give your answer were going back to this funny little database that may or may not have had the answers to the test in there.
May or not have been open.
I was just like, I don't know if this is supposed to be like that.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things should not freaking be here.
Is the test that I can find all of the answers, or is the test that I can give the answers?
Yeah. Yes, both.
Yes.
A company would like to securely deploy applications without the overhead of installing a virtual machine for each system. Which of the following would be the best way to deploy these applications? using containerization, utilizing Internet of Things or IoT technology. Maybe you want to utilize proxy servers, forward proxies, reverse proxies. Or maybe you want to utilize a real-time operating system, military grade. Maybe it's something, I don't know, an automobile, something that requires that real-time, constant time-based data feed. What's this asking about? This wants us to securely deploy applications without the overhead of installing virtual machines for each system. And in Slay Security Plus and in cybersecurity IT, we learn that as we have to host different virtual machines on hypervisors, remember, use some of that knowledge as you answer this question. What do hypervisors do? That'll be the hint. How do hypervisors work?
They hypervise.
They supervise or hypervise. They're used, and they're typically, no, I'm kidding. I was going to say city employees, but I've got family and friends that are city employees. I don't know if
Their hypervisors are the ADHD of IT.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's more like what Docker is. Like, I'll do it.
Give it to
Here,
me.
put that on me. I'll do it. I forgot we got this little countdown thing here. Ladies and gentlemen, it pains me, it breaks my heart, but we will be back next Thursday. This is probably the last question for tonight. I gotta wrap things up. We got Mario Party as well, or maybe it's Mario Kart tonight, one of the two, and then we do some dinner, all that kind of fun stuff with the family. I've been on a pretty serious Magic the Gathering binge while I'm doing some applications and hiring process, and in the waiting, I've been clearing my head with some Magic the Gathering. But I think I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm just going to relax maybe and take a break with the family. And then we'll play some cards later this evening. See if I can whoop up on Jerry. You whoop up on Joesph.
Nerds.
We all get whooped up on. Oh, Lord, are you playing Arena? Yes, Nicholas. I am playing Arena. Are you better at driving in Mario? No, I'm not. I'm a little better. My family beats me all the time.
Oh, I don't lose. My son and I, we fight back and forth. We fight for the first place.
Do you really? That's awesome. That's awesome.
My wife and my daughter are sitting there like just chilling in the back, getting blown up. And my son and I are sitting there trying to figure out who's going to be in first, who's going to be in second, who's going to get hit by the blue turtle shell.
Did you know you can outspeed the blue turtle shell?
You can try.
573918 says, enjoy, friends. Enjoy, buddy. Have a good night. Thank you both, Joesph and DJBSec. You guys rock.
That is a fact.
Haircut Fish coming in hot. I'll have to challenge you in Arena sometime. You should. I right now use decks that are kind of a little bit net decked, and then not net decked, but I use a framework, and then I use my own thing, and they just stomp. They're not fun to play against, but they win.
Nick Barker, what's the answer? What's the answer?
Oh yeah, we're here to study.
Come on. Hey, I say this. Hey, how about Nick Barker? Oh, you already did it. I was gonna say you put the answer in chat. Let's see what you got for us.
He net decks. See, Jerry's in chat. He's in. Yeah, he knows. We all know. We play against it. We know.
So net decking, if for those of you that don't care, but if you're listening, net decking is the process of looking at just a deck, which Magic the Gathering is based around a deck of cards. You play against your friends and compete. You battle each other using sorcery and magic and all this kind of fun stuff. But there are professionals that do this, or people that play at the very elite level, and their decks are public. So you can download the cards that are used. And if you don't have the cards, you can either buy them or craft them, basically. And so some players will use just pure net decked or net in described, decks. I use a framework. I use a helper, an inspiration, they said.
I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
Dr. Jerry says, hey, Rhonda Remelfield, Nick Barker, Space Tacos, Team Simply Cyber. What's going on? How is Vegas treating you, Jerry? I know you're busy out there, probably hard to work.
Dude, he's probably on his fourth beer right now.
I was gonna say it's 5 o'clock. It's 5 o'clock there, so we know where Jerry's at. He's at the bar.
Yeah, my man.
Ed Williams says, "Hey Jared, hold your Simply Cyber. I know that guy."
Y'all are gonna sit here play Magic the Gathering, and I'm gonna go watch hockey.
No, we like sports. I like sports. I love sports. Scoring, making
Sports
things
ball.
points.
I forgot that the Stanley Cup's on, man. I've been watching all that.
Definitely at a bar in Vegas. Tired, about to pop off. He's about to pop off for the night. I am too. I think that's a great segue to close out tonight's stream. It's been awesome. Oh, let's get to this. Yeah, containerization. Let's talk about this question because we came here to study and I don't want to leave anybody hanging. What we're asking about is in the cloud, using cloud technology versus using your hardware and then just having a hypervisor running on either your desktop or your server, or using a different type of server that just runs a hypervisor, which is really just a computer that is made to run operating systems. A computer, a dream within a dream. It's like an Inception box for computers, right? It's like a computer within a computer. Well, that still requires resources, hard resources, right? Well, when we start shifting things to the cloud, you can use services. We'll use Docker as an example, which uses this theory of containerization, where you basically picture a whale. We're going to use the Docker whale as an example. And on this whale, you can imagine little blocks, right? Little tiny shipping containers. And each shipping container on this whale, on this Docker whale, is a different application or a different instance, right? Well, you're using all this using cloud technology. So you're not utilizing any of your own resources, really. It's in the cloud, which just means that it's in somebody else's house. It's a nice computer in somebody else's closet, and you're paying money to use it. And that is much better and uses less resources than trying to either run everything on your computer, or even having a computer that runs a fake computer, then has to run a different service. Think about virtualization this way. If, let's say I have a virtualized server, and even if it's multiple virtualized servers doing different services, let's say I have this one computer, and on this computer, I've got my Active Directory server, I've got a file server, and I've got a web server. You know, they're all on this physical computer. Those are all still virtualized resources, but they're using this one box. Whereas if I take it to the cloud, we can use a service like Docker, which is going to virtualize each of those little containers. These little containers, these little instances and applications are going to be virtualized. You can pop them off, you can fire a new one on. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
I do want to throw something out there because somebody did answer RTOS, which is real-time operating system. So real-time operating system is very, very popular in SCADA devices or ICS devices. Oh, Jerry's here.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear the echo, so I know Jerry's here.
Oh, is there an echo? Right, hold on.
Who let this guy in?
Sorry, Kennedy.
So real-time operating systems. So in a normal operating system, when you take an action, say you open Microsoft Edge, it can take 1 second. It can take 5 seconds. It could take 20. With a real-time operating system, your compute is always bound. So an action always takes the same amount of time because they have to meet very specific, I don't even know how to explain it properly, but basically in these SCADA ICS devices, if things aren't processing at a consistent time, stuff usually goes really, really wrong.
Yeah. One thing that I'd like to throw in with this is when you see containerization, and a lot of this is built around cloud. Cloud costs money, and the more operating systems you put in, the more computers you're running, the more that's money. When you throw containerization in there, guess what you get to do? ROI, you get to save money. It's a big thing. CFOs will love you for setting up containerization.
What is
Jerry's
it?
Gonna eat his mic.
All about that. Cash rules everything around me. All about that bottom line, baby.
It really is. It really is.
It really is. Yeah.
Docker, but containers is like such a transformative technology. Like removes all like not all dependencies, but it certainly makes things easier, or less problematic, I should say.
But it also introduces lots of things if the container itself that you are pulling and using is not monitored. Because people can go and create their own containers that look just like the real application that you're running, and then you go throw that, and guess what? Now you're hosed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How's being a movie, or not a movie star, but a TV star out there in Vegas treating you, Dr. Jerry?
Oh, you know, it's mostly private cars and you know, fancy dinners. No, like, dude, I'm drinking
Jet
a beer out of
setting.
a friggin' like, you know what I mean? This is like, you know, behind the scenes. Like, no. It's been really cool. It's been very cool, actually. The set's wicked cool. I don't know if you guys saw the the behind the scenes stuff that Jabron Ilyas put on LinkedIn. There's going to be a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff coming out. And it's all green screen. Like, the whole studio is fake, but I've seen what the final studio looks like, and it looks just like a Jimmy Fallon studio. Like, it's unmistakably, like, there's an audience and there's a band, and like it's bananas, actually, is what it is. So
I'm excited. When are we gonna get to see that? When will us? So it's gonna go to a streaming service first, correct?
yeah, yep.
Will us, the regular viewer, will ever be able to see that content without that? Will you share some snippets?
So, from what I understand, it will be on that streaming platform, Night TV Plus, which is like only $7 a month or something like that. So it's not even prohibitive. But there will be like a sizzler reel that gets made that'll be shown. There'll be a commercial for each episode that'll be shown that I'll be able to push out. If you're going to Black Hat, and this isn't like a FOMO thing for everybody, but if you're going to Black Hat, there will be a premiere at a movie theater. I'm not even joking. There's going to be like a premiere at a movie theater with like red carpet and stuff. So I'll still be wearing a Simply Cyber t-shirt. I am wearing a Simply Cyber shirt in every single episode. I'm wearing a blazer with it, but I am wearing Simply Cyber gear.
Alyssa's got YouTube. Are they going to drop like snippets on YouTube?
I think so. She hadn't mentioned that yet, but she did mention like lots of I was like, if you provide me stuff, then I will I'm excited about the project. Dude, I gotta tell you, the conversations I'm having are like mind blowing too. It's like bananas. The conversations that are happening. It like Matt Kiley was one of my guests, and his we got into like philosophy and just what he's talking about with how purple teaming should look like in 5 years. It's like wicked. It's just like thought provoking. It's insane. It like the conversations are bananas. It's basically Simply Cyber Live, except like turned to 11, like Spinal Tap, turn it to 11 kind of stuff. It's cool. It's really cool, actually. I'm excited.
Well, that link or the promo shot there, it looks like you're gonna go to like this swanky, watch a poker game or maybe a magic show, or like not the game, but you know what I'm saying, like a performance or something. It's definitely like, it makes you go, what are we gonna be talking about here?
Dude, he's wearing the redneck tuxedo. He's got a t-shirt on under that blazer.
Exactly.
Hey, dude, I wear cyber shirts all the time.
Yeah, man.
And it's funny because I own enough Simply Cyber gear to have a different shirt every episode. Even this one, this isn't even for sale. Like, I sponsor my kids' soccer teams, so sponsors get a shirt too. So, but yeah, no, it's pretty dope. We'll see. Every episode kind of has a theme, so like that's how I did it. So there's like a blue episode, a red episode. Oh my God, Finfrock is coming Saturday for filming.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
The episode that never airs.
Yeah. You'll have to buy the red letterbox.
It's X-rated.
Yeah, the DVD.
Yeah.
You gotta walk out. It's got the black plastic bag. You're like trying to shuffle down the street with it.
Yeah. So the producers, Night Studios, they don't know who Charles Finfrock is. They're like, who is he? I'm like, no, trust me, it's a solid interview. I'm like, I don't think you guys understand though, like what this is gonna be. And they're like, no, it'll be fine. I'm like, okay.
Don't give him a computer. Don't give him a computer.
Yeah, exactly. I think season 1 Space Tacos is 6 episodes. but there'll be lots of behind the, like they're actively filming like behind the scenes, like they're making deliberate behind the scenes content as well. It's cool. I mean, it's like a full studio. I mean, there's like an audio person, there's a light person, there's director of cinematography, there's it's legit. It's legit. It's cool.
Tony Parrish coming in hot. Enjoy the discussion, guys. Good vibes. Good vibes. We are all about good vibes. Good vibes and good times.
I love it. And I didn't try. I'm not coming in here trying to like take over the stream. It sounded like you guys.
Yeah,
it's like a friend jumping into the clubhouse. Like, oh look, Jerry's here. Jump in.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. And I love it, dude. I've been getting up at 4 a.m. every day, staying on that East Coast time zone shift. That's been good. So
go for a run.
Not even tired.
Not even tired. Gets off a stream.
Yeah. You're right. Dude, Nick Barker. I love Nick Barker. Like,
dude,
Ben, you haven't met Nick Barker, have you, in person?
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's like,
if he's gonna be a Wild West Hacking Festival, I'll see him.
I'll tell you this: we were standing there, and it was Nick and I were standing there, and Jerry was gonna go up and do something, and Jerry's like, "Nick, come with me," and he's like, "Jess, go run and do that." I'm like, "All right, I got it." Jerry's like, "Sorry, man. Nick Barker is just cooler than you are," or something like that. I just laughed so hard, dude.
Jesse walks away with his head down. Wah, wah, wah.
It's so brutal.
Well, folks, that does it for me. It is family time. Huge thanks to our special guest, Casually Joesph, aka Joseph Caden. Ben, DJBSec, aka Ben Sherrill, thank you for being here. And of course, Dr. Jerry Ozier, thank you for joining us, for popping in a little cameo on tonight's Slay Security Plus.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and great show. I was, in chat, just kind of lurking a little bit for a good 15-20 minutes. Great stream. I love what you do, Jesse, and Casual and DJBSec. Like, it's so cool. I love it. I freaking love it. So keep rocking. You're helping people.
Thank you, Jerry.
Good morning.
Well, you know what? It's a cliche, but it's absolute truth. We learn from watching you, man. Huge inspiration, and I won't beat a dead horse. Thank you for being here, Jerry. We appreciate it. To all of you out there watching Slay Security Plus, we meet here, try to be here every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Mountain Time, 5 p.m., and then wherever you are, however you got there, we do live Security Plus testing, build some mentorship, have some fun while we're at it. From the Slay Security Plus studios, I'm Jesse J. You guys are Slay. Have a good night, everybody.